Okay, let's make a start. I want to welcome Paul Goldenberg here from EDC. It's a pleasure and honour to introduce you, Paul. Welcome to the Kaput Centre, and welcome everybody to our first speaker of this year, but fifth speaker in the Colloquium series for this academic year. It's an exciting array of people from different fields, and Paul is going to add to that excitement today in talking about little children.
You don't know that.
Oh, I know. That's a pretty good idea. Just a little background on Paul. Dr. Goldenberg has over 35 years of experience in elementary, secondary and post-secondary teaching, teacher education, teacher enhancement and education research, and has throughout focused heavily on developing students' and teachers' mathematical curiosity along with their ideas, skills and understanding. He is widely published and has conducted workshops and seminars on a variety of topics in mathematics education, often focusing on the beautiful surprises that mathematics holds and the creative element of problem posing in deep mathematics. He holds the rank of Distinguished Scholar at EDC, Education Development Centre, and has been the principal investigator on many NSF-funded materials development projects, including Think Math, a comprehensive K-5 mathematics program that supports teachers' professional development whilst they teach by building their interest in and curiosity about mathematics. Materials for secondary teacher professional development, a web-accessible searchable resource of problem sets with a point for secondary level mathematics, and an innovative high school geometry curriculum. Paul's not a very busy person. He has also directed research on learning with technologies, including geometry software, graphic software and programming, research on college students' learning of linear algebra, and research on the principles for developing curriculum materials for students that promote the professional development of teachers. He has studied mathematics, psychology and education at Brandeis and Harvard, and has spent nearly 2 decades in classroom teaching, from his own second grade self-contained classroom to high school and university. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome Paul. He wants to provide enough opportunity for interaction, questions. I think we'll take questions as needed during, but maybe we'll keep them brief and then we can leave more time at the end for interactive discussion. So I will hand it over to Paul. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. I'd also like you to warn me so that they're really, and especially if we have questions in the middle, that lengthens things and I won't be able to time myself by where I am in the presentation. So just warn me.
45 minutes.
What?
45 minutes. Do you want to?
Absolutely. That's perfect. That's perfect. Let me get here. I actually brought also a video which we may be able to show. Ha! There. Thanks. It's nice to be here. The first time. I'm not going to talk about any of those things that Stephen just mentioned, except by way of introduction. Long ago, before I wound up firmly in mathematics education, I've been looking a lot at cognition in little kids, cognition in adults as well, though less, and you learn a ton of things and then your career goes in some funny direction. I spent 11 years in the severe end of special education, 6 years on the medical faculty at Tufts Medical School. I'm not a doctor, and I never taught there, though I was on that faculty. But anyway, so you go in this funny direction, and then all of a sudden you wind back where you started, and that's kind of what's happened now. I've done basically all I've done for the last 25 years is curriculum development and a little bit of less official mathematics education or mathematics learning research. Curriculum development is an enormous amount of math ed research, but you don't get paid for that part, so you don't get to write that part up. You get to produce this curriculum, you learn a ton of stuff, and you have no place to say it. So here's the place, actually. What this presentation, I spent all of yesterday and this morning cutting things out of this presentation. What this used to be was the way all that brain science stuff that I had been steeped in, influenced a particular curriculum that we did for elementary school. But what actually got me to put together that presentation that I'm not giving you is discovering in high school algebra, which is where we're working this year. We're working with at-risk kids, mostly in Lowell, some in Malden. Discovering in them things that I had known about having been studied in adult cognition, but had only actually seen in children and never connected. So with that, by that little bit of introduction, here's a book. Can you see? Can I turn out this light? This light?
It will color the whole
Oh.
slide. So
Can you?
Okay. I can see. Well, I can see here. It's really easy for me. So here's a book. It's interesting. I mean, this is by way of illustrating. There are a whole bunch of things that talk about brains and wiring and mathematics. Here's another book that's got a lot of information in it. This is about education. This one, you know the joke about a camel being a horse designed by committee. This is a book that was written by committee and it has some of the same problems. The information is really, really interesting. The book is not, the writing is not. This book I would recommend as a must for anybody who has children or who is going to be working with children or whoever was a child. It's written by three leaders in the field who also love their subject and who also so much enjoy talking about it that the writing is really good. They didn't have an agenda here the way the other ones sort of telling you what we know about education. This is just sort of crooning about babies. It's not a how-to book, it's about the minds of babies. Very interesting. This one's a follow-up, and that is, I don't know, go to that one. So, babies know things. I really will get to the algebra part. Babies know things at birth, and the way we know is that we ask them. They're not very good at interviews, but we can ask them things, are these two the same, or which do you prefer? And the way they answer is with their eyes, and they'll look at things that are more interesting to them, just like we do, and they'll ignore things that are boring to them, just like we do. But they'll also do, same difference. You can tell by reaction. If you play a sound, this is an interesting one. It's from later in this presentation, but you play a note, a particular note, and you play this note again and again and again, and the baby hears the note, and if you play a different note, the baby will notice. I mean, after a little while, the baby gets bored with this thing. Or it could be a visual display. Baby gets bored, attention goes away, or sucking becomes less, and all of a sudden something new happens, the baby goes, you can tell. So we can ask things, and that's how they answer. So what do they know? They know mommy's voice right away. They will work harder, sucking harder and longer to keep a tape of, nobody uses tape anymore, but one of those things, a computer, playing their mommy's voice, then playing another voice saying the same things. So you can tell, they've distinguished them. It doesn't say which they prefer, but they know the difference. They know facial expressions, and they can actually recognize, not only can they recognize smile versus frown, and some of that, there are little bits of that they actually copy. Andrew, one of the authors of that book that I liked so much, got a reputation for being really quite a nut to find out how early they can copy expressions. But let me pull off for that for a moment just to say, if you have a tape of a voice saying something in a chipper, happy sound, and two faces, one of which looks happy and one of which looks sad, the baby knows how to match the face to the voice. Try to figure out how this is possible. I mean, inside here, you don't get faces at all. The baby is not. So, Andrew Meltzer is interested in babies' copying behavior, and a few weeks out, you have this little baby in your arms, and you go to the baby, stick out your tongue, and The baby, it's not instant response, they don't do anything just on call, but you'll get, statistically, you'll get baby going,